Alright guys, I'm back with my weekly manga review video for Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece this week. And Naruto, chapter 605, Hell. This is basically a chapter of Obito just going on a bloody massacre rampage of death here. He snaps and just kills a ton of people, pretty much this entire chapter. So he shows up and he sees Kakashi kill Rin, which we were left off with last week, and he's shocked. And we see their eyes, and the Sharingan turns into the Mangekyo. I guess that's how you say it, Sharingan. I don't watch the anime, so I pronounce the names just how I read them most of the time. But this awakens that in both of these guys. And apparently for Obito, that's how he gets his power of having objects just phase through him. So he snaps and Kakashi awakens his, but he just falls down. He passes out. And Obito rushes forward, and he also has Hashirama's cells. So he has all these wood techniques that he's using. And he kills these bloody mist ninjas in just crazy ways. Here he's got like all these branches shoved through them, and they try to fight him, but all their attacks are just going right through him. And he's just kicking all of their asses. This is like a small army here, and he's just destroying them. Now, the mystery of this chapter is these guys are talking about Rin, how they have to get Rin. They can't let the enemy get her body. So there's something going on here that we're not going to know all the answers to until later on in the story. So obviously, Kishimoto was setting something up. And there's a scene, a little panel, where Obito breaks one of their masks, and it shows a headband, but it doesn't show what village. And at first I was thinking, okay, maybe they're going to be from Konoha, and Obito is just, they're working on something here. They're working with Kakashi. It's not the real Rin. Something's going on, but Obito just snaps, and in the heat of the moment, he doesn't realize this, and he's killing his own village. But then I was thinking, how would he not notice this? If he's killing all these people and they have the headband underneath the masks, surely he would see that eventually. But it doesn't happen, so maybe they are just mist ninjas. And Obito just goes crazy, kills a ton of them. And at the end, there's just a ton of bodies all around him and trees. And he says, "I know where I am, this is hell." And he's just got blood all over him, and he's bleeding from the eye from using the Sharingan. So it was a really good chapter, a lot of action, but not a lot of stuff getting revealed here, but I'm fine with that. It's a good, slow build, and I really enjoyed this week's chapter. I thought it was pretty cool, and hopefully this storyline delivers with what really happened to Rin and Kakashi. So anyway, on to Bleach, chapter 511, Death While Standing. Yamamoto is dead. It's hard to believe. I still feel like he can't really be dead, but it's really looking that way. I mean, he was cut in half. We see his body drop. His legs are still standing, but the top half of him falls down. And then Juhabak just blasts him, just full of these, I guess, Quincy arrows or something. It reminded me of the old Dragon Ball Z episodes where Piccolo would just, or one of those guys would just throw like 1,000 little balls of power at somebody, and then it would just explode all at once. But yeah, Yamamoto seems to be disintegrated. All the other Shinigami feel it. They feel that he's gone, and they're getting attacked by the Quincy's. The Quincy's are going all out now, and Juhabak just says, "Destroy Soul Society," and that's exactly what happens. I mean, they are getting destroyed completely now. I mean, the Quincy's do some type of, they slide their hands up and this big black Quincy star appears and soldiers come in. So now they're getting even more backup. And these guys are just killing all the other Shinigami that aren't captains or vice captains. So, I mean, they're really getting their asses handed to them right now. And Juhabak says something to one of his, to that guy who's always with him. I can't remember his name. But he says, "Let's leave retreat for now before Division Zero shows up." So that sounds awesome. And then once they arrive, he's going to come back. He just wants to take some time to form a plan and then ambush those guys. I believe that's the Royal Guard, if I'm not mistaken. But there was some cool stuff in this chapter when Juha Bach is talking to Yamamoto after defeating him, and he says that he created the divisions, but they died a long time ago, because when Yamamoto created the divisions, they were bloodthirsty killers. And eventually, over all these years, Yamamoto grew to have things that he loved and wanted to protect, and it made the divisions weak. So Juha Bach says they died a long time ago. They died in the Quincy War, when the divisions were trying to exterminate the Quincy's. They died with them. So I thought that was some cool dialogue there. But yeah, hearing about Division Zero sounds really awesome. And then as Juha Bach turns, we see an explosion in the sky. I really hope it's the Zero Division and not Ichigo, because if he has already escaped from that cage and he's going to show up, I don't know. I'm not really interested in that happening right now this soon. But I guess whoever showed up in Huek Mundo could have freed Ichigo, and now they're on their way there together, maybe. But I would really prefer it if it was just Division Zero. Some new faces. But then again, that's also going to raise the question. Kubo would have to build those guys up as being strong, unless he just wants them to. And this is a division we've all been looking forward to seeing. And if Kubo just brings them out and has them killed, somebody's going to have to suffer some losses here. He's either going to be able to make Division Zero look strong, or he's going to make the Quincy's look even stronger. So I'm not sure where he's going with this, but I'm very excited for this storyline. I have enjoyed it the entire time. Ever since Kubo ended that, what was his name? Genju, and that other guy who had like the bookmark that turned into a sword. Ever since that ended, and he started this new arc, it's just been awesome, I think. So great chapter this week from Bleach. And a huge character died. Yamamoto was, he's been there for a long time. He's a very important character in this story, so to kill him off it's pretty crazy. So on to One Piece chapter 684, Stop It Vegapunk. Oh man, a lot of stuff happened in this one. To start things off, we get the cover page with Karabo, his brother, his crew, fighting the G5 Marines. And I like that. I thought that was a nice little cover story. I really enjoy the cover stories. I think it's great. I wish every manga did those. But as far as the chapter, it starts off with a kick-ass fight between Smoker and Virgo. And I have no idea what Virgo's powers are. I'm not even sure if he has powers. Maybe it's just that stick he carries is like magic or something, but he's got this giant stick that he can blow it up and then shoot these little explosive darts and all types of stuff. He has the CP9 techniques that he can use, the kick and Shigen and all that type of stuff. So he's fighting Smoker, but Smoker's actually winning the fight. And then it cuts to the Straw Hats, Sanji, and Tashigi, the G5, and we see all of them, and they're kind of separated all over the lab. And Caesar's plan is to close off the exits and force them all into one area. He's going to try and get the Straw Hats there, Law, Luffy, Virgo, everybody. He's going to try and get into this one area underneath them. So he's closing all these gates, and he's setting explosions off to try and use the poison gas to lure everybody into that area. And his own men are waiting. They want to fight. And they're saying something. What did they say about like killing his own men? Or I'm not sure. But to reassure them that Caesar is a good guy, he tells them that Vegapunk was the one who caused the mass destruction all those years ago. And that Vegapunk is the #1 scientist in the world, and it's not fair, and it should be him, and he's doing all of this for their own good, because what he's doing is going to bring peace to the world. He's like a cult leader, and he's just trying to convince his followers that what he's doing is right, and they buy into it. They're not very smart, obviously, and they buy into it, and the last thing we see is Luffy, who's still in the trash can, and he comes across a dragon. Not a dragon like the Straw Hats fought. This is an old dragon style, just like Dragon Ball Z with the Dragon Balls and everything, the one they would summon. Just a classic dragon, and it's got to be Momonosuke. And Luffy just says, "What are you?" And it says, "What are you doing here?" So I'm not really sure where he's going to come into play. It's just, it was really wacky to see it down there. I did not expect that. We see a tiny flashback of Caesar when he caused the incident, and Vegapunk trying to stop him, saying, "Caesar, you've gone too far." And Caesar says, "Sengoku may not want this weapon, but Akainu will." And then he runs, and they're trying to fire him, and instead of forcing him to leave, he just runs and hits the button and causes the explosion. So we saw that little flashback, and I was expecting something more with that, but instead we get Luffy staring at this like little tiny dragon. So it was kind of a wacky ending. But yeah, I really enjoyed this week's chapters. A cool fight between Smoker and Virgo in One Piece. Obito going crazy on everybody in Naruto, and of course Yamamoto dying in Bleach, and just the Quincy's Vandenreich just destroying Soul Society. I mean, they really wreaked havoc on that place. So next week's chapters should be really awesome too. Looking forward to those. So that's my thoughts on this week's chapters. Leave your thoughts on this week's chapters in the comments below, and thanks for watching. Bye. Of having objects just phase through him. So he snaps, and Kakashi awakens his, but he just falls down. He passes out. And Obito rushes forward, and he also has Hashirama's cells. So he has all these wood techniques that he's using. And he kills these bloody mist ninjas in just crazy ways. Here he's got like all these branches shoved through them, and they try to fight him, but all their attacks are just going right through him, and he's just kicking all of their asses. This is like a small army here, and he's just destroying them. Now the mystery of this chapter is these guys are talking about Rin, how they have to get Rin. They can't let the enemy get her body. So there's something going on here that we're not going to know all the answers to until later on in the story chapter. So he shows up and he sees Kakashi kill Rin, which we were left off with last week, and he's shocked. And we see their eyes, and the Sharingan turns into the Mangekyo. I guess that's how you say it, Sharingan. I don't watch the anime, so I pronounce the names just how I read them most of the time. But this awakens that in both of these guys. And apparently for Obito, that's how he gets his power. Alright guys, I'm back with my weekly manga review video for Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece this week. And Naruto, chapter 605, Hell. This is basically a chapter of Obito just going on a bloody massacre rampage of death here. He snaps and just kills a ton of people pretty much this entire. So obviously Kishimoto was setting something up. And there's a scene, a little panel, where Obito breaks one of their masks, and it shows a headband. But it doesn't show what village. And at first I was thinking, okay, maybe they're going to be from Konoha, and Obito is just, they're working on something here. They're working with Kakashi. It's not the real Rin. Something